Alright, so today we're going to look at how to measure hook sizes or determine the size of replacement hooks that you're going to need if you don't have some sort of a reference to, what size could be on a different tackle or in general if you're trying to rig something up. So yeah, so today tools I'm using are a caliper. This is a Mitutoyo digital caliper. It retails for about $150. This is probably one of your higher end ones. You can find these down under $20. You can they come in digital and non-digital. And yeah, so I think if you don't have one of these and you're looking to pick one of these up, Amazon's got plenty of them at all different price points. So if you want this brand or another brand, you're going to pay for what you get though with these things. It's just the way it is. I mean, you can get one of these that's $15, but I mean, how well it's calibrated, how many times you use it is, you know. But for this purpose, I mean, we're just measuring hooks, so as long as it's within, this one measures up to 10 thousandths of an inch, or in millimeters also. So yeah, with this one I can do up to 167.92 millimeter, or 6.611 inches. So if you have a hook bigger than that, yeah, you're not going to worry about this. Alright, but for the smaller size, things like down to a 6, an 8, or a 10, you're definitely going to want one of these. Yeah, I mean, once you can make your own chart, kind of like I did, which you'll see right here. So I just took all the measurements of all the different size treble hooks that I have for replacements and rigging up different Huddlestons or whatnot. Yeah, so let's do this. So first thing you do this one I turn on, I have to zero it out. You take your hook, and what you're going to do is you're going to want to put it between the barb and the bend of the hook. So if you're looking at this, you've got the barb here and then the bend. So you're going to want to find that area where the bend stops before it's almost, these are round bends, so you got a little bit of a slope there. All these different treble hooks, depending on the hook type, they could be a little bit different. Some are very flat. In this case, the round bends. I believe this is an owner ST36. So let's check this out. So I'm going to take the caliper, and this is a really big hook. This is about as big as I'm probably going to be able to do with this one, with this caliper, but you get it right on there, and you get it to where, right there, so we're at 0.97. So we know 1 aught is almost 1 inch, really close. When I measured another hook that's 1 aught, it was 0.9915. So these are really close to 1 inch. I mean, you're talking hundredths of an inch in difference. So let's see. This guy I believe is a 2. Let's see. Again, gonna go right between where the bend stops and before. Alright, so what we're looking at is 0.7545. And yeah, that's a 2. The other one I measured was 0.7705. So again, these are within hundredths of an inch. And again, it's all gonna one of the big factors I found was the style of hook and the wire size too. Let's see, here's a smaller one. You can do the same thing. These ones are probably the easiest of them to do. You just gotta make sure on the caliper they have it right in the middle. Alright, and we're looking at 0.46. So this is a number 8. Okay, so like I said, you just measure them between putting it right where for the barb and where the bend stops. Right there. And you don't need to go like go crushing down on it, because I mean 10,000ths or even 1,000th of an inch is, it's not going to make that much of a difference. Like I said, let me see if I can grab one of the ones. So this is also a number 2, right? So we said, was it this guy? This guy was the number 2. And he is 0.76. Now, this style, right? So it's got the bend and then it's flat. I believe this came off of a 1 ounce Castmaster. Let's see, it's an inline hook. Yeah, nope, it's not inline. All right, so same thing. This one's actually really easy because of how flat it is. But keep it in that same kind of spot. You don't want to make sure you have the hook up like this or bent any way. You want to keep it as flat as possible and make sure it sits in there, not crushing. So look at 0.73. Okay, so a size 4 is down around 0.65, and a 2 is around 0.77, 0.76. So this is also a 2, right? So say if you had a Castmaster or any other spoon, you took this off and you wanted to, change it out to an owner hook. This is effectively what you'd be switching it out to. Or if you bought a different, like if you wanted to keep this style where it's very flat, it's still going to be a size 2. Alright, so say, let's do something else. So say you got a Huddleston here. This is the big guy. This is the 8-inch RF16. So you can't really measure. I mean, you're not going to replace this, but just for the sake of kind of show you how to measure the wire size. On a Huddleston, on the hook itself, what you do is, if there's any, you just take a look at it first, because there's a bend here. You're never gonna wanna, you never measure on the bend, but you can measure on the side of the hook that doesn't have a bend, right? So what you're gonna do is you're gonna bring it in, and you're gonna bring it right on top. So the size wire we're looking at is 0.06 inches. So now if you were trying to think, if you were, something happened to this hook, but you wanted to keep that size gauge on there because you're, you want to keep a good hook set. You don't want the hooks to bend that you're, using for, a Butch Brown rig or something like that. You can, with that 0.07 inches. Or on this case, on this caliper, we can change it to millimeter, and it's 1.82 millimeter. But just keep it simple, keep it at inches for this video. But and we can kind of test to see, what size wire gauge are they using. This is 0.05. So it's close. Can I slip this right on there? No. So you know that 0.05 and 0.07, 0.06. So yeah, the construction of a hook, there's going to be some, if it's got flattened at all or anything like that, because they are bending metal and they're heating it up and whatnot when they're creating it. But yeah, that's the general idea. And so what I did was you know, like I just hand wrote a chart over here from 8 to 1/0 in inches and millimeter to kind of have a general reference to how big these are. So when I'm going through, it's winter time, so I'm going through all my tackle and, you know, replacing all the hooks on, you know, things like, so like this guy, so whopper plopper, you know, these are really heavy hooks that come on it. And so if I wonder if these guys were dull, didn't want to sharpen, I wanted to replace them. 0.05 is the hook size. So that's close to what's on the 8-inch Huddleston. 0.05. So yeah, there we go. Well, is that these aren't even a round bend. These are a little bit different, but you can, like I said, measure it. The other ones were flat. This one just goes in, and what you do is just put it on the part that's bending right after the main bend, and we're looking at 0.8745. So 0.87. So these are a number 1. They're a little larger because of the gauge of the wire, the steel wire that they use in the hook construction. So these are heavier, right? Some lures say if you were changing these out and you went to, you know, something like this, it might not change the action as much. If it did, you might want to just, and you didn't have it in this gauge, maybe this is a little heavier or something like that, or I don't know how precise this would need to be for this lure, but if you took these off, I've had some lures where I've changed the hook size and went down a size on them because they were just too big, and it was you know, a 10 joint like swim bait essentially, like Mac Daddy lures like swim bait, and instead of it like, you know, swimming like it would, it was basically just like it had nothing. It was totally broke. So you gotta watch that on some lures where the hooks are a big factor in the action. This guy, I couldn't tell you, but some of the harder baits, like, you know, these guys right here, I don't think you would have much of a problem. Maybe you'd have to experiment, but I know someone who makes saltwater lures for striped bass, and what he does is he has weights that are drilled, that are put inside the bottom, so even if you didn't have hooks on it, it would still have the same action. If, say, this wasn't the case with these, and you cast it out there, this thing could be sitting like this on top of the water, because the hooks are basically that big factor that keeps it, you know, floating in the correct position. I'm not saying it would, but, you know, definitely, that's why it's kind of important to know, you know, the size hooks and what you're basically changing to. Yeah, so let's see. So we had, just for the hell of it, let's see what Huddleston does between the 8 and the 6. See how different their hooks are. So we'll measure this. This is 0.6. 0.066. This is the 6-inch. This is, let's see, 0.05. So yeah, effectively we're going down one size in wire gauge from the 6, from the 8 to the 6. And move them off to the side. Yeah. Alright, so let's see what Mike Shaw does with the slammer. Put the plopper over here. I love that plopper. I caught so many fish on him this year, it was insane. Alright, so let's see. This is the medium 9-inch MS Slammer in shad. So let's take a look and see what these ones are brown or copper color, or you know, whatever, however they talk about the color of these. So let's see what Mike Shaw is using on these. These are definitely big for this caliper. This is 0.94. So my guess is this is a 1/0 that he's using on here. Let's see, wire size is 0.05. Alright, so the wire size is effectively the same size as on the Huddleston 6-inch. And it's bigger than, or it's longer than the 8-inch Huddleston. I used to think this was a big lure. And then I got this guy this year, and he's just like, he's a monster. I can't wait to hit something on this guy. He'll definitely, it's got to be a personal best for me. Let's see. Alright, so these are 1/0. So these are easy to change out. I mean, the split rings here. Yes, it's pretty heavy duty construction. You wouldn't want to use a small split ring on this, because you can see where you need to effectively open the split ring up to get her around the where the eyes are, and that's really heavy gauge there. So that's why he's using this. Probably like a size 7 or 8, or that's a really big split ring. Yeah, and we can see what's on this is the small MS Slammer. X2 dark rainbow trout. So let's see what size hooks he's got on this bad boy. Alright. So it's point, so you can see right there, 0.8410. So 0.84 is a 1. Not a 1/0, just a 1. So that's a size 1. So if you wanted to, you know, put on a red hook on this, or you know, or go with the, you know, the black chrome, put a size 1 on there, and it's the standard size for this bait. I'm sure you could probably put a larger hook on there, and you know, in the front of it or something like that, or you know, experiment. Probably might change the action up, might not, who knows. I mean, this is pretty thick, heavy wood that's being used in the construction, so it might not even be a factor. But yeah, so I mean, like I said, it's the hook type that'll have a little bit of a, you know, hundredths of an inch kind of factor. The wire size, and the type of metal too. So, you know, sometimes the gauge might be bigger, just because it's, if you're buying a cheaper brand, or if you're going for something that's more applied, you know, more for like a saltwater, you know, giant tarpon, or you know, tuna. You know, you're gonna need a really heavy gauge stainless steel hook. You're not going to want to go to something that's a thin hook, because it'll just bend those fish, that will just bend the metal. Yeah, and then you manufacture it too. So if you were to, you know, you're walking down the bank and, you know, you found something like this. I find, you know, dozens of lures every year. I found a swim bait last year. I don't even know who the manufacturer is of it. I should probably post that on Swim Bait Underground, see if someone can help me identify it. Could be a Matt Lures, for all I know. It's a hard bait. But yeah, so, and you know, as you go through your stuff in the off season, you know, especially for us, like we're in the Northeast, you know, you want to replace hooks, but you don't know what size they are, and you want to buy a specific type, you know, online, measure them out. Yeah, and I will put up a Google sheet with these numbers in it, and yeah, I mean, you can use it as a reference point. Like I said, you know, it seems like it's within tenths of an inch is what's gonna be the largest change. It's like for every tenth of an inch is one size hook. Yeah, so the hundredths of an inch. I mean, still, like, even the Yamamoto square bill was 0.6160. I mean, that's right in line with the number 4. It's a different style hook, but you know that's going to be a number 4 if you need to change them out. Yeah, the Rapala BX Walking Minnow 13. That was 0.5910. So that was probably the strangest of all the sizes. I believe they use VMC, and I had size 6 VMC hooks, and mine were 0.5595. So there's definitely a difference there. So it could be the style of the hook, could be, like I said, the wire type. But as long as you're you're putting the same size hook on there, and it doesn't change the action, or you want to keep the same action, you don't want to mess with it too much. Some guys will go up in size hooks, with deep diving crankbaits. Doesn't really have any much of an effect. But yeah, that's it. Like I said, I'll post my Google spreadsheet up there. You can use that as you get a caliper and you need to measure some of the sizes on your things. You'll know exactly what size you need to buy. And yeah, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you like the video and thumbs it up. Alright, thanks.